I am pulling this live off like a secret mission because my daughter fell asleep and I am outside in the parking lot near my car where she's sleeping. It's hard for me to be as proactive as I want to be when I'm with her because I care to be a very present mother, and whatever I'm doing, I care to involve her while I have her, especially because I already share her 50% of the time. But you guys, we need to talk. This is not about my business. This is not about anything else besides what is going on right now, universally. And I want to talk with you about it. I want to shed light on what I've realized, what I see very clearly, and I hope that this will help awaken you. And thank you for all the compliments on my mothering. Thank you for listening. Okay, so first and foremost, I want to talk about good and evil, and I want to discuss the fact that this is real, that this good and evil is real. And I want to share with you my take on it and see if it resonates with you. Evil energy has caused me to be curious for the last, I would say, 4 years. I've tried to understand it because I was not born or have that in me. And so because it's so opposing of everything I stand for, I have actually, if you could compare it to what an actor would have to do if they were trying to understand a role, I've tried to understand how one could be that way by mentally allowing myself to put myself in their shoes and try to think why they would think certain thoughts or do certain things, so on and so forth. Because I wasn't doing it in a sense with a mentor or a guide, at one point it led me to a very dark rabbit hole that I felt I now, like, oh my God, I was like, mentally, you can really, really get lost and off alignment if you don't allow yourself to have mental boundary with these curiosities, because then you might invite so much of these disturbances in. And if you're anyone like me that has some familiarity or loads of familiarity with OCD tendencies, then that can really throw you off the deep end. And so I actually had to seek healing at one point because I felt like I lost grip of my soul, of my reality. And my healer at the time, her name is Tora, said that it's extremely important for mental boundary to be in place when you're going to spaces that are evil, to understand what you might need to understand in order to make a difference, make a change, and be proactive in any way. And so that term mental boundary, I was like, holy, wish I fucking knew about that shit, because that would have really helped me a lot. But at the same time, I'm glad that I went to the places that I went, because what that did was it really allowed me to understand both sides of the spectrum without being it or acting obviously on anything, but just mentally, like, shifting realities. And it amped up my light at the end of the day, even though at one point it made me feel like I lost all my light because I lost my mental boundary with it and felt like I lost my sense of self. After regaining my sense of self in such a well-established way, I can now revisit these evils with control and boundary. And now I understand, I feel like, how it has come to exist and how to maneuver in it. So I actually find it very purposeful that I did everything however I did it, because these tools and this awareness and this understanding is needed right now. we are in a spiritual war. I don't know if you realize this, but we are in a spiritual war. Our spirits, our world, people, the human race. If you go on one more day pretending like you are not in a spiritual war right now, you are blind and you need to wake up. I know it feels like, but what do you do when you wake up? What do we do? Because maybe you might feel like this is so overwhelming and your life is so far from the place of where you feel like maybe you can make a change, but this is where I want to continue to shed more light. Yes, I will save this life. I've had many downloads come to me recently. Ever since this pandemic, I have allowed a direct source to be a portal of information from the universe. I've been opening, I've been asking, I've been receiving. It's overwhelming, actually. I mean, there was one moment where it was like, it almost felt like I was leaving my body in one moment where I felt like I was receiving so much information. And I had to like get a grip because I was like, woo, it was a lot. But one of the things that I really want to share with you is the download I got from the universe that the internet has been in the works for a long time, universally, spiritually. The internet is created by the universe, by the divine, because it knew that it is the way we can all get information that otherwise we might not reach. The internet is our greatest tool for change and information and proactivity. The internet can shut a business down. If we share things that go against a business and enough people felt the same about it, we could literally shut a business down with people using the internet. There's so much we can do with the internet. Every single person can in the whole world has access to create an account. Yes, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, we've now starting to see how they might censor things because they're at the top. But if we start to see that enough, then we can really start to even call that out and use the internet to call that out. So I want to remind you of your power here, what you do have, and that the internet is all of our divine portal for us to not only research things beyond belief. Like there's been so many unbelievable investigators and people that have pieced together missing links, because documents, there are things that are available to us. We just don't take the time to research them. There has been people have been able to piece things together due to all the missing pieces, maybe said in one interview here and one thing over there. And then they've like realized, okay, this is all the info we needed. There's so much available to us, but we need to care. We need to care. It's coming down to care now, because now we have also so much distraction. We have so many things that can distract us from caring about the real shit. And realistically, of course, we all need to make money to live. We all have bills. We have families. We have to provide for ourselves. And I support and understand that. But that doesn't mean don't talk about the other things that need to be talked about. So I am in that position where too, I am like, okay, I need to, yes, provide for my life and keep my stability here, right? I want to keep a good life for my daughter. But at the same time, I cannot let my account not be used for global change. I am beyond okay. I'm passionate. Like I'm not beyond okay. I don't know why I said that. I need people to wake up. So I'm in a space where I feel like I am going to be taking reign on what I can. And I want you to take reign on what you can. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to be angry. The other thing I want to bring awareness to, okay, now, so that the internet, yes, it was made by the universe for us to, this is where, okay, let me build on that real quick. This is where we get control back. The internet is where every single human being gets control back. Because one person's post could generate, who knows what could get viral wavelengths. Don't think that just because you might have a small following that your profile won't make a difference. If you have reach, you have reach. If it's one person, that one person sees it, so on and so forth. So the internet is a part of the way we are all going to make a change. And how you use it is so fucking important. And who cares if you're not going on and seeing all the happy shit anymore? It's not time for that. It's not time for that. And I'm not only talking about the massive thing of human trafficking and child trafficking or child pornography. I'm also talking about Black Lives Mattering. I'm also talking about every single fucked up thing that needs to be righted. Everything. And like I said earlier in my Insta story, just because now child lives and human trafficking is now taking the forefront, that doesn't mean one thing has to not be important anymore. There's room for all the things that are important to be important. One does not have to take the lead. They all need to come to light. So going back briefly to good versus evil, and what I feel I was able to understand from allowing myself to go to those, to try to understand, from allowing myself to try to understand. Sorry, I heard my car making some weird noise. Okay, so what I have come to understand as a spiritual being, venturing into all these topics and coming to my own conclusions, is that we all come from divinity. Okay? We all do. But in human existence and in this earthly world, we live in contrast. There is polar opposing forces of everything. And if you have never gotten let's say you were a child that was raped from the beginning of your childhood, you've never gotten to truly taste your divinity. It's all you know. And your parents and your family, and then you don't talk about it, and you suppress it, okay? And now you become this person that continues the cycle because you don't even know different. This is one example of how I believe evil is birthed and then continues and then continues and then continues. I full-heartedly believe that if anyone has gotten to taste their divinity and they were supported in that divinity, they had an environment that supported that divinity, they would pursue it. But if people know they're evil more than they know divinity, and they're in an environment that is also evil, the odds of their divinity being strong enough to overcome the evil are low. So it's about breaking the cycle. Do I believe that we should kill everyone that has gone so far off the deep end that they have no sense of divinity? I don't know. I don't have an answer for that, because spiritually, genuinely spiritually, I don't know if they're saving them spiritually. I don't know if they will ever believe in their own divinity, because if they believe and identify with their evil so convincingly, they are evil and they identify with it, I don't know if they're saving. I don't know if they would ever open their heart enough to believe in their divinity. And if they would never open their heart enough to believe in divinity, then yes, they gotta go, because then there's no saving them. If in a perfect world, if I created it, would I love to create a rehabilitation center where you can introduce them to divinity and coach them into divinity and give them taste of it and surround them around good people and let them know what divinity is? Yes. And I would love to be a part of the creation of that down the line, 100%. Do we live in a world that even are we close to that yet? We're not close to that yet. We're not close. And that's why I feel like I don't know what to do with those people right now, because we're not close to creating a rehabilitation center for spirit yet. One of my neighbors is leaving. I'm sitting outside with a full setup doing a live. With that said, if you have divinity in you, you are being called. You're being called right now. If you have divinity in you, your divinity is needed. because we won't overcome evil if we do not link up in divinity. The divinity has to feel like an army. This ventures me into the movie Avatar and the symbolism in this movie. I don't know how old I was when this movie came out, but I saw it 3 times in theater. I was young. Maybe I was like 11, I think, something like that. And the movie hit me it was such a young age that I was like, I wasn't old enough to be like, oh, I get all these messages. I just remember being like, I love this movie. And that's like all I had to say. I love this movie. I saw it 3 times in theater. I've never seen a movie 3 times in theater. Paid for the full price ticket 3 times. In addition, it came back into my life this year headstrong. Like that's how this movie came back into my life. Then I don't know, the math. I think I was 19 maybe. I don't know. So one day I was in the bath doing a moon ritual, and all I heard was Avatar. That's all I heard, Avatar. And ever since then, I've watched the movie with a different eye, this one. I have now watched it about 10 times since I got that whisper. So I can keep soaking. It is insane, that movie. I don't even know if James Cameron knew the portal of messages he was for the world, but he foreshadowed this moment in time. If you've seen that movie, you know how the sky people come to the divine land with only ill intentions. The people running these missions, they just wanted the evil. They just wanted the money. They did not care. Yes, they tried to make a debate. They tried, but it was limited. They didn't care about killing the children or the family or the da-da-da, or the fact that the trees had all this magicalness. They're like, it's a fucking tree. They'll find another tree. They didn't get it. And the lead scientist was like, you don't get it. This tree has divine properties. It's their this, it's their that. The tree is the value. The tree is the money. Not the rocks underneath that are gold to you, but the tree is the money. Don't you see? And they were like, let's tear this shit down. And then they had to fight. This is the war we're in. This is the war we're in now. The war scenes in this movie are right now. I just need you to know that. The divine beings, the avatars, the Na'vi people, are the divine beings that are living on Earth right now. Okay, so this is the symbolism. The army people in the movie are the people we're fighting against, the evil. Even the Na'vi people, as spiritual as they were warriors. Do you understand this? They were warriors. All of them willing to fight. There wasn't one tribe member of the Na'vi people or community member, don't know the proper term to say, wasn't ready to go down protecting the divinity. And the second the leader was like, it's time, they were like, yeah. It was like, the issue here today is that we don't have enough divine people linked up, ready to go. We're spread out. We're still in business mode. Some of us still have our egos more intact. Some of us don't even know the difference between ego and soul. It's time to wake the fuck up. If you don't know the difference about ego and soul, guess what? You have Google. I do coaching sessions all day where I'm giving people this definition, but in my head, I'm like, they could have just looked it up instead of whatever else you do on the internet. Ugh. So, sorry, calming down. I'm fiery. If you didn't know that, if you don't know me personally. Back into Avatar. So even though the Na'vi people, they tried to fight the sky people by themselves, and they were a smaller clan is what they called it. Not tribe, not clan. They were a smaller clan, and they were going down because there wasn't enough of them. And they were, Natari lost her dad, so-and-so. I mean, all the warriors were dying because they were smaller. Okay? So then they realized they needed to travel to all the other clans and link up because it wasn't enough. And then even beyond getting all the clans involved, they needed to connect to divinity, the higher power. The higher power, because then even in the war, when shit was going down, when all the clans were involved now, and now it's like a mass number of them, they still were going down because the sky people, the evil, had bigger guns. Okay? They had bigger guns. They were ready for this war. Because when people are doing evil things, they're ready for the repercussions. They know it might come one day. Like, they're ready. The divine people are not ready to go into this war. We need to get fucking stronger. These evil people are ready. Their guns are loaded. Spiritually speaking, but also physically. Physically too. Okay? So, in addition to the clans linking up, what really saved them was the fact that Aiwa, the tree Aiwa, the higher power, heard the calling and sent the animals to attack, got nature involved. Nature. Because without that, they were going down. So all of a sudden the rhinos are stomping and the fucking the whole world gets involved. Okay? So 2 things are needed. This inner world, but this outer world. You can't just go in. You can't just be out. You need both. Okay? You got to be spiritual and you got to be logical. You can't just be one or the other. We need spiritual warriors ready to fight. Okay? This is where it's okay to be mad. If you've been working on suppressing your anger, this is actually the time. It's okay to be mad. Because if you are not getting mad, your warrior spirit will not fight. We need the inner, we need to then be able to go, I gotta recharge. Okay, I need to go in, connect to spirit, connect to my inner world. Balance is key. But this is not enough. You can't just go in and be peace right now. Because we're in a war, people. You can't just fight all the time. You're going to die. We feel this? We understand this? We need to do both. Avatar, 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 avatar. 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 In addition to the points I mentioned about Avatar, there's so many more messages. If you have not watched this movie, this is your sign. Me. This is your sign. Okay? This movie has almost all the answers to what we need to do right now. I'm not kidding. Okay. I have notes over here that I'm peeking at that I took down. I remember at the very beginning of this year, I went to a 9-hour Kundalini yoga workshop with a beautiful divine teacher named Cord, who is an astrologer and a Kundalini yoga teacher. And he went into how 2020 equates down to 4 when you add the 2 and 2 together, 0 holding no space value. And how 4 is the number that stands for stabilization. A table cannot stand without 4 legs. A car has 4 wheels. Horses 4 legs. Most animals have 4 legs. Things that are very, sturdy. If we were to crawl, I don't know how many more analogies I need to give you, but a square for stability, 4 corners, most rooms, okay? He began to go into saying that this is in January, okay? He's an astrologer. He began to go into saying this year is going to be full destruction. And at the time I was like, really? I was really excited about this year. And he was like, full destruction. He said, everything is going to crumble. And he said, I don't know exactly what that means, but he goes, that's the message in the stars. He said, everything is going to deconstruct. And he said, this is going to be the most powerful year we've ever had because of this deconstruction. And in 2021 will be the year of reconstruction. And I just remember thinking, like, what's going to fall apart? Like, what? I don't really want to, like, think about that because I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, it was written in the stars. This is no accident. If you're not into astrology, I thought about doing a class only on that because this shit is written in the stars. Like, Cord, just a divine astrologer, fully called it in January at this workshop. And again, I was like, he seems pretty negative. Yeah. And so I have to say, I was slightly prepared because of this. And when you're into the universe, what you fucking exist in, when you're into the moon and the sun and the star patterns and the messages that they have, you can prepare. It's not about fortune telling, it's about preparation. Difference, because we have free will living here as human beings for our own realities, but there's a universal reality that is not a part of our free will, honey. No. We have individual free will, but we're a part of something much greater. With that said, I want you to continue to understand that's what this year is about. Stop trying to change it. Don't wait for 2021. Stop trying to wish this year over. This year is needed. Deconstruct everything you possibly fucking can that is not in alignment for not your highest good, but everyone's. This is the time to deconstruct your ego. Think of how many things you can deconstruct about yourself. Your trauma, your ego. I don't know if my neighbor's coming in where their house is. Okay. Deconstruction. If there's anything left in you that needs deconstruction, this is the universal time. You're fighting with alignment, honey, if you're not doing this work. You're fighting with divinity. You're fighting with the universe. When the universe is your foe, it's your friend. Work with it. Break all your own shit down, because if you don't, you're not going to care about the world. You start caring about the world outside of you when you care about the world inside of you. It works that way. It doesn't work the other way around. So if your ego is, if you still get up and you're like forgetting about what's happening, that's a clear sign that you're forgetting about something you need to face. Okay? It is time to face all your fucking fears. If you don't, you're gonna go down. Like, I love you enough to tell you this. You're gonna go down because you're fighting against the higher power. You're gonna be off alignment. You're gonna not, you're not gonna hear it all clearly anymore because you're already not listening. You are so supported right now. Yes, someone said you're so supported right now if you're going to do the work. If you are willing to deconstruct everything that is holding you back from being the most absolute divine being you can possibly be, you are so supported because you're working with the universe. You're working with the higher power. You are doing what you are being called to do. You are going to be so protected, more than you ever know. You're going to feel so loved, and anyone that's doing the work is going to say, I see you. I see you. And you're going to feel more genuine love than you've ever felt in your whole life. Let me tell you that. This year is the year all my friendships have reached their highest realness. So don't worry. You don't need to know exactly how good it's going to be. That's not the point. If you get like security, like it's all going to be good, oh, okay. Then you're missing the point. You're missing the fucking point if you need to know it's going to be good after you take the risk. The whole point is jumping into the unknown and being okay with that. Know that you're doing the right thing without knowing what comes after doing the right thing. Know that the act of going in is doing the right thing and that that's enough. You don't need to be rewarded. That is the reward. That's the trickery. You don't need more reward after that. Anything after that is a bonus. I love you for saying you're crying while watching this. You have no idea how many tears come in my intensives, how many tears come in my one-on-one sessions, because it's real. That fake shit, like, Okay. Anywho, with all that said, just remind you, the virus was the start. The virus was just the start. It got us all in. Okay? The virus got us in. The virus fucked up our schedules. Good thing. I know that there's been deaths. I know that there's been sickness. But that was happening anyway. It was happening anyway. People were dying and getting sick anyway. But now, we all got pulled in. Okay? We all got pulled in. Our schedules fucked up. Business is closing. Our voice is getting stronger. People getting outraged because they're inside. Their lives are different. Things that we're selling are not selling anymore. Music industry down. No live shows. Nothing to distract us. Okay? Then people are still wishing things open back up. No, you're missing the fucking point. You're missing it. How loud does it need to get? Don't let it get louder. It's only gonna get louder because there's still people not listening. Then Black Lives Mattering was an opener. Ooh, the world has never seen such a unison act. That was the opener. That was such a powerful, and it's still here and it won't stop. But it was the very thing that needed to open up our voices. And it started to show people's true colors. There are people that are okay with being identified as a racist, but a lot of people do not want to be identified as that. So now they were challenged because if they didn't speak up, they were identified as a racist. So that was the topic that got us to open our voices up, use our accounts for a different reason than what we use them for. Because the people that weren't okay with being identified as a racist needed to use their voice. And because so many Black people were getting very involved, our Black friends, our Black family members were saying, why aren't you speaking up, so on and so forth, and they have a voice that they were using. It was big, and it is big. Has it stopped trending a little bit? Yes. Should it? No. But now we know what people are capable of. Now we know what people are capable of. When people feel like, okay, if I don't do this, I'm or I'm going to be viewed as a racist, so I need to be so I need to be productive. Okay, you know? Because you started to be like, who didn't post for this? And it was getting like, who's not using their voice, right? Now, another issue has approached. Human trafficking, child pornography, pedophilia. Are the voices as loud? No. Knowledge just woke up. I have to go grab her. Stay here. It's funny. I don't know how to say that to a live. Okay. Don't leave yet. Okay. Thank you for not leaving. I really appreciate that. So, with that said, these children, they don't have Instagrams. They don't have a voice. Do you understand that? You're not going to hear from them. This subject will fall short if you don't care. There's not going to be something on your timeline by a child that says, I'm getting raped right now. Can you come save me? Blunt as because it's true. If you don't care, you're for it. Someone needs to tell you like it is. Because silence is choosing a side. And we learned that during Black Lives Mattering. We learned that. Okay? Silence is choosing a side. If you are divine in any capacity, you have one choice. That's it. What you do, don't ask anybody. You have the internet. Stop pretending like you don't have everything you need to find out what you need to do. You have access to all the information that you need. You need to be proactive. I cried so much last night. The idea that there are children that have no voice, that are so powerless in their strength. I was just telling Johnny a story the other day about when I was in school and I got into a physical fight with a guy, and I was young, and he slapped me, and I slapped him back, and then he slapped me again. And when I realized how strong he was, I felt defeated. I felt completely powerless because I knew if I continue, I'm going to get beat. This is how children feel. You need this said to you because you could make a difference. And this is happening. This is happening, and it's not just physical abuse. It's all the disturbing things you could ever imagine. Right now, if you just joined, I'm talking about child trafficking, human trafficking, child pornography, and any kind of child abuse. But I'm going to save this live and I'm going to post it on my feed because I'm going to do everything I can on my part. You can be proactive with me, or you can kindly move along and step aside and let other people that are willing to be spiritual warriors lead the way. Okay, I'm going to go now. If you're willing to join me, know that I love you and know that you're seen and everything you do is going to matter. There's only one choice if you care. Okay, logging off.